Shalom, shalom, mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings, where today I'm going to be talking about the Fellowship of Thieves. What's the Fellowship of Thieves? Well, growing up in Christianity, growing up in a Christian home, growing up in a Christian counterculture, I've seen disturbing and despicable things, which in my younger years almost caused me to lose my faith. Things like Jimmy Swaggart, Jim Baker, all these sex scandals and money laundering and things of this nature, where men of God, were preying on the needy, whether it be emotionally or financially. Perversion occurred in the high ranks of Christendom due to the lust of money and power and sex. But because of the fallen human nature and the human condition, which never changes unless it is regenerated through faith in Messiah Yeshua, Torah obedience, what else are you going to expect? It's going to be this way in whatever religious realm you find yourselves in. Messianic and Nazari Judaism is no exception. But what really aggravates me and irritates me, gets me peeved and TO'd, is that regardless of our stance, our pro stance on the Torah, our pro stance on healthy Jewish doctrine and traditions, that a lot of this is still nonetheless brushed off to the side, and the fallen human nature and hedonism in a person takes over. There's a verse in the Torah, in Numbers, I think it's 23:32 or 32:23, some combination like that, where basically it says, be sure that your sins will find you out. I'm getting sick of hearing about Messianic rabbis, so-called Messianic rabbis, who have no credentials, no education, or yet they admit this, but yet still let people call them rabbi anyway. And, they're doing the same things that these Christian TV evangelists have done, religious leaders have done, and soiled and tarnished the name of Messiah Yeshua. I'm sick of these leaders of organizations who are not forthright and forthcoming of their beliefs and their origins. They're pawning themselves off as somebody who was raised Jewish, when in actuality, they were of another denomination. Why hide that? Okay? You think it's going to give you more clout if you say, well, I'm Jewish and I was raised Jewish and I converted to Nazari/Messianic Judaism? Be honest. Why lie? I've always been upfront and forthright where I came from. I admit that I was raised a Christian. I admit that I was raised Free Will Baptist. I admit that I came to the knowledge of my Jewish lineage and heritage later on in my life, and I converted and went through rigorous training to become a Nazari rabbi. Why hide the fact if you came from Christianity and didn't go to a Talmudic school? Who cares? Be honest. Then you have these so-called Messianic rabbis who are nothing but sexual predators. I'm not saying they're going out, and getting little girls, but they're preying on divorced women with low self-esteem. They're preying on, women who are in less favorable circumstances. They know this. And yet they're still, carrying on internet relationships. Like, the Nazari Messianic version of Tiger Woods. They may not be jumping in the sack, but yet they got 4 or 5 different women online that they're whispering sweet nothings to in their ear. Sometimes they do get in the sack. This is despicable. This is inexcusable. I understand, guys. We're hardwired for sex. We're hardwired, for these feelings. But you know what? This is where good Jewish Orthodox tradition comes in, and it is a firewall. It is a baby safety gate, if you will, to keep us from breaking the commandment of committing adultery. What do I mean? Don't be in the same room with the opposite sex that's no relation to you. You know, don't counsel women over the internet. It's just too easy to fall into stuff like that. Not only this, but you also have, you know, these so-called Messianic rabbis, where the Torah clearly states that the tithe in connection with the temple has been done away with, but yet they try to lay on a guilt trip just so they can get money, just so that their ministry can survive. Okay? I want to read to you some lyrics of a Christian thrash band that I listened to when I was a teenager. Their words still hold true and basically sum it up. It says, "In this time of need, this time of peril, this time when the helpless seek, when so many search for some light of hope, and they begin to consider this God of whom they've been told, the wolves come out to play, to deceive, and turn men's hearts away. Under guise of sheep, with such beautiful smiles, they appear to be of God, but yet of all the while, they lead them straight to hell. Don't touch me. You've got blood on your hands. Time will come. You will see. Hey, you're over." Playing on their need, the need to live pure and free, you mix a little lies with a lot of truth. Your bait is trust, and then they follow you. You get them to believe in following lies. Then they see your deceit all in the name of Christ. They look into your eyes and they can't understand. When they hear you call me brother and see you shake my hand, they curse his name because of you. Don't touch me. You've got blood on your hands. Time will come. You'll see. You're over. Stealing their hope for peace. A fellowship of thieves, hands dipped in the blood of children, exposed while seeking peace. A fellowship of thieves, causing more destruction than those who don't claim to believe. This fellowship of thieves, watch the wolves, be wary that you will not be deceived. Wow, powerful lyrics. You know, it's kind of, you know, my message to Messianic ministers, Messianic rabbis, whatever, is the same one I give my daughter. When my daughter does something wrong, you know, I get her to correct it. You know, if that means actually writing a letter to apology of a child, or, you know, publicly, you know, apologizing, whatever needs to be done to rectify the situation, just not saying, "Oh God, I'm sorry, forgive me," that doesn't cut the mustard. I say, honey, we're Jews. We are held to a higher standard and a higher accountability than the goyim that are in this world. No less is true for Messianic ministers and rabbis. We are held to a higher standard and a higher accountability. It behooves you to not be hypocritical, to live a life of holiness, faith, righteousness, and integrity. And if you have problems in the area of money, in the area of lying, in the area of sexuality, get help. I know some stories of some so-called rabbis who are on Beit Dins who need to be brought before their own Beit Din. Don't lie to yourself. Don't deceive yourself. Don't paint yourself as something that you're not. I do my best to put myself before the mirror of the Word, as James says. And if there's something that I don't like, I don't turn away and forget about it. I look into it and say, "Oh God, help me. Help me to rectify this." I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that I'm flawless. I'm saying, you know what? I'm prone to fall, and if it wasn't for the grace of God, I'd be in the same situation as these scandalous ministers, whether Christian or Messianic. You know, you've got to have a group of men you're accountable to. If you're married, you've got to be accountable to your wife. You've got to be accountable to your congregation. You've got to be held to a higher accountability and a higher standard. Burn every bridge you have to burn. Erect every wall you have to erect to keep yourself from breaking commandments, from compromising your integrity and your faith, and putting yourself in the camp of one of these thieves. Shalom and Shavua Tov.